I have a daughter with a famous movie actor Luis. But Luis never allows our daughter to call him Dad, nor does he acknowledge our relationship in public. Compared to us, who live in the shadows, his first love, who just returned to the country after her divorce, and her son are treated like his entire world. To the media and his fans, he is the perfect father and the ideal boyfriend. Later, during a live broadcast, this man knelt before our daughter and pleaded, "Sweetheart, please just call me Dad once." Our daughter Sophia tilted her head and calmly replied, "Sir, are you joking?" Chapter 1. I took my daughter Sophia to the mall to buy some clothes when we stumbled upon a promotional event starring Luis. Upon seeing the huge advertising banner of him, my 5-year-old daughter couldn't help but exclaim, "Mommy, that's Daddy." The moment she said those words, Sophia quickly covered her mouth in fear. I understood why. Once, when Sophia had called Luis Daddy at home, he had locked her in a storage room for the entire night. When I finally broke the lock and rescued her, she was trembling, her bright and clear eyes filled with terror. She kept murmuring the same phrase over and over. "Not Daddy. It's Uncle. Uncle Luis. Not Daddy. It's Uncle. Uncle Luis." Seeing my daughter instinctively suppressing her emotions broke my heart as I held her tightly in my arms. "Sophia, sweetheart, let's go have some ice cream." I just wanted to leave with my daughter as quickly as possible, but before I could react, a wave of excited fans dragged us into the crowd. Today, Luis was there to inaugurate a luxury children's clothing store. By his side stood Camila, the woman he had once loved so desperately and had never been able to forget. She had just returned from abroad and was also the owner of this brand. Standing between them was a little boy about the same age as Sophia. "Luis, Daddy, carry me." In front of countless cameras and adoring fans, Luis smiled and lifted Oscar into his arms. Camila naturally linked her arm with his, completing the picture of a happy family of 3. This scene felt like a knife through my heart. Sophia nestled in my embrace, silent, but her small trembling body told me everything. My precious daughter was crying. Chapter 2. Back then, Luis and Camila were considered the golden couple of the entertainment industry, a true fairy tale romance. Any movie or drama they starred in became an instant hit. Fans shipped them so hard that they practically wanted to march them straight to the registry office. For years, rumors about them, sometimes true and sometimes false, dominated the headlines of major media outlets. Just when they were about to make their relationship official, Camila abruptly announced that she and Luis were just friends and quickly left the industry to go abroad. Soon after, paparazzi captured her overseas, very close to a wealthy tycoon in a luxury mansion. Devastated by heartbreak and betrayal, Luis suffered a car accident. His right leg was seriously injured, requiring 2 major surgeries under general anesthesia within 4 days. During that ordeal, his will to live was weak. To save him, as someone who had secretly loved him for 10 years, I obtained the company's permission to enter the ICU, where I imitated Camila's voice every day, encouraging him to hold on. Thanks to my efforts, Luis regained consciousness. At the peak of my own career, I put everything on hold to take care of him. During this time, Luis repeatedly asked if Camila had visited him while he was unconscious. To encourage his recovery, I lied, saying that Camila had come but left quickly, promising to wait for him abroad. With that hope, Luis's recovery sped up. But on the day of his discharge, he accidentally learned from his assistant that it had been me impersonating Camila during his coma. That night, Luis pinned me to the bed, his eyes gleaming dangerously. "You enjoy pretending to be Camila, don't you? Tonight, I'll make you completely her." I didn't know if he was punishing me or Camila, but that night he took me 5 or 6 times. It wasn't until I passed out from exhaustion that he finally stopped. A month later, I found out I was pregnant. To my surprise, Luis wanted me to keep the baby. I thought maybe he liked children. But when I saw the news of Camila's pregnancy in the newspapers, I realized Luis was acting out of spite. During our 6 years of secret marriage, Luis always believed that I had taken advantage of his unconscious state to climb the social ladder, which led to his cold attitude towards Sophia and me. Once, I thought that if I behaved well enough, I might win him over. But now, seeing him openly embracing another woman's child in public, all those self-deceiving fantasies have shattered. The difference between love and indifference is truly a chasm. Chapter 3. I took Sophia back home, and after comforting her, I retrieved from the study the divorce agreement Luis had signed long ago. When Sophia was born, I had hoped he would stay by our side. Instead, Luis handed me the divorce papers demanding my signature. Frightened, I immediately fell silent. Since then, every time I made a request he considered excessive, he would threaten me with those documents. Little by little, I became mute in his presence. Seeing his signature on the divorce agreement, I finally sighed in relief. From today on, he would no longer have control over me. Because without love, there is no vulnerability. I intended to hand him the divorce papers in person to end this fruitless relationship, but 3 days passed without him returning. I called his agent, who informed me that Luis had been busy securing a leading role for Camila. I hung up with a bitter smile. Once, I had hoped Luis would speak to a director on my behalf for a supporting role. Predictably, he refused. His reasoning sounded grandiose. Doing so would be unfair to those actors who work hard. I was convinced by his words back then, feeling despicable in that moment. But now I realize that only those who are unloved must play fair. Camila, however, is his exception. Chapter 4. If Luis doesn't come, then I will no longer wait. I went to the kindergarten to process Sophia's withdrawal. Sophia's mother. Next week is the children's art exhibition. Sophia has great talent for painting. In fact, she won first place in the district's children's art contest. We hope she can stay to participate in the exhibition before leaving. After all, this would be a great encouragement for her and the perfect ending to her learning experience here. Upon hearing the teacher's suggestion, I agreed without hesitation. But what she said next put me in a difficult position. For this event, the school required both parents to attend. After all, parental involvement is crucial in children's education. I didn't need to ask. I already knew Luis wouldn't come. At that moment, Sophia gently tugged on my sleeve. Her eyes full of longing made me decide to fight for her, just this once. After 6 years of marriage, for the first time, I sent Luis a message of more than 100 words that I explained in detail the meaning and importance of this event. At the end, I promised him this would be the first and the last time. After this exhibition, Sophia and I would disappear from his world forever. The message was sent. It wasn't until past midnight that I received a reply. Luna, what a manipulative bitch you are, using the child as an excuse. How far can your shamelessness go? If you think you can proclaim yourself as Mrs. Luis, forget it. That will never happen in this lifetime. You'd better disappear right now and never come back. Chapter 5. That Luis wouldn't come was something I had already expected. The same excuses as always. Sophia already knew them by heart. On the day of the art exhibition, all the children were accompanied by their parents. Only Sophia stayed quietly by my side. Not wanting her to be left with a bad memory, I decided to try one more time and called Luis. Luis, could you? Luna, will you ever stop? Weren't you the one who wanted to disappear? Then why are you still shamelessly clinging to me? And with that, he hung up. Completely disappointed, I took a deep breath, forced a smile, and took Sophia to the exhibition hall. Just then, a commotion broke out outside. Isn't that the famous actor Luis? Why is he at a kindergarten event? I heard his son studies here. Oh my God, the award-winning actor is married and has kids? How did I miss this bombshell news? Hearing the murmurs of the parents, I was filled with confusion. Just minutes ago, he had spoken to me with such disdain. Why had he suddenly appeared at the kindergarten? Had he changed his mind and wanted to surprise Sophia? Upon hearing the news, Sophia had already run excitedly toward the entrance. Daddy. Daddy's here. Luis is my daddy. But before she could finish speaking, someone let out a mocking laugh. Little girl, You can eat whatever you want, but you can't just say anything. Do you call any man you see daddy? Is that how your mother raised you? I'd love to see what kind of woman could raise a daughter like this. Surely her mother is nothing but a hidden mistress. Hearing those cruel words, Sophia clenched her fists in anger. My mom is not a mistress. My mom and dad are legally married. Luis is my dad. I'm not lying. Her words provoked sarcastic laughter among the parents. Little girl, look carefully over there. That's Luis's real son. His mother is also a famous actress. They truly are the perfect couple. Sophia followed the direction pointed out. Her body froze. Tears clouded her vision. Chapter 6. Luis, surrounded by a group of admirers, walked toward us holding Oscar's hand. Beside him, Camila smiled elegantly, clinging to his arm. Oscar, saying he was tired, began to complain and refused to keep walking. Without hesitation, Luis bent down and lifted him into his arms. His gaze was full of tenderness, a warmth that Sophia had never seen but longed for every day. Sophia. Seeing me run toward her, Sophia threw herself into my arms. Her tears soaked my clothes, filled with sadness and heartbreak. Mommy, why doesn't Daddy love me? If I did something wrong, I can change. I also want Daddy to hug me. Her voice was barely a whisper, as if she feared someone else might hear. With my heart tightening, I hugged her tightly, swallowing my pain and answering her softly. Sophia, you are perfect just as you are. You don't need to change. It's just that Daddy doesn't see clearly. He can't see how amazing you are. Amid the noise of the event, our image of holding each other looked even lonelier and more vulnerable. Luis and his family became the center of attention at the exhibition. Meanwhile, I remained in silence with Sophia in a corner. It wasn't until the awards ceremony began that Luis noticed our presence. His frown deepened when he saw Sophia step onto the stage to receive her prize. Before the ceremony ended, Luis stood up and left his seat. As soon as he walked out, Camila, holding Oscar's hand, pushed through the crowd and approached us. Miss Luna, what a coincidence. Chapter 7. I stepped aside, keeping some distance between us. Hello. Camila's fake smile didn't fade in the slightest despite my polite but distant attitude. I didn't expect your daughter to study here too. My Oscar just transferred. I have a small favor to ask you. Would you mind accepting it? Without waiting for my response, she continued as if my opinion didn't matter. Now that the children attend the same kindergarten, they're bound to meet. I don't want Luis to feel uncomfortable, so I'm asking you to withdraw your daughter from this school. I had already processed Sophia's withdrawal, but seeing how arrogantly Camila gave orders, I couldn't help but ask her a question in return. And what right do you have to ask me to take my daughter out of this school? By then, the other parents had already noticed our conversation and started watching with interest. Noticing the attention, Camila put on an expression of false kindness. Miss Luna, don't get me wrong. I'm only thinking about the children's well-being. You wouldn't want your daughter to have to fight over a father in front of her classmates, would you? After all, being called a bastard is hardly a source of pride. Hearing her, I let out a cold laugh. You're right. Being called a bastard isn't something to be proud of. So tell me, how do you have the audacity to parade your child around in public? Camila's face darkened immediately. What are you implying? Are you saying my child is a bastard? Luis and I truly love each other. You were the one who took advantage of the situation and came between us. Then you got pregnant before marriage and used your daughter to climb the social ladder. If Luis didn't have a soft heart, how could he have tolerated you for so long? Chapter 8. No sooner had Camila finished speaking than the parents around us began whispering and pointing fingers. So, she's the mistress who forced her way in. And on top of that, she has the audacity to act as if she has any rights. Her face looks familiar. Wasn't she an actress? Oh, I remember now. She was pretty good but disappeared from the industry 6 years ago. Turns out she left to become someone's mistress. And her daughter is at the school? Disgusting. Which one is her daughter? I need to tell my son to stay away before he gets caught up in a scandal. As I listened to those hurtful comments, I saw the satisfaction flash across Camila's face. But I wasn't going to let her enjoy it for long. I slapped her with all my strength. Camila lost her balance and immediately fell to the ground. Smack! The sound echoed in the air, and a burning red mark appeared on her cheek. Camila sat there, stunned. You hit me? The crowd erupted in an uproar. How shameless. Now the mistress resorts to violence. I'm calling the police. This kind of woman belongs in jail. I did nothing to stop them. Instead, I smiled and slowly approached Camila, who was still on the floor with fear reflected in her eyes. What are you going to do? I didn't even bother to answer her. I raised my heel and kicked her straight in the stomach. Ah! Camila let out a heart-wrenching scream and writhed in pain on the ground. I stepped back and looked down at her. What am I doing? Oh, just giving a mistress the beating she deserves. The moment I finished speaking, the spectators fell into absolute silence. Wait, who's the real mistress here? Taking advantage of the confusion, I pulled my marriage certificate from my bag and threw it in Camila's face. This is my marriage certificate with Luis. I didn't know being married made me the mistress. Chapter 9. The place erupted into chaos. This was an elite kindergarten where all the children came from wealthy and powerful families. And among the women present, at least 80% had dealt with the issue of a mistress ruining their marriage. That's why they had been so aggressive and ruthless with me at first. But the moment I pulled out my marriage certificate, their jaws dropped. Oh my God, I've never seen a mistress so brazen, openly insulting the legal wife in public. This woman has no shame. If it were me, I would have died from the humiliation. Poor Mrs. Luis, being humiliated like this in public by the mistress. That slap earlier was too soft. She should have hit her a few more times. And where there are words, there are actions. Several furious mothers raised their designer handbags and started hitting Camila. Amid the chaos, Camila screamed in desperation. Luis and I are true love. The only reason he married you was because you were my replacement. He never loved you. The one who isn't loved is the real mistress. This time, I didn't have to respond. If they were truly in love, why didn't they end up together? I remember the news saying you were the one who went abroad and got married first. What's the matter now? Was your marriage a failure, so you decided to come back? Women like you are the very definition of shameless, trying to destroy your ex's family. At that moment, Oscar burst through the crowd. You're all bad people. Don't hit my mom. I'll tell my dad Luis to deal with you. He's a superstar. The boy's words made the furious mothers pause their blows, but their mocking didn't stop. Chapter 10. A perfectly normal child ruined by this despicable woman. Now he goes around calling any man he sees dad. Honestly, this boy doesn't even look like Luis. Who knows whose bastard he really is? If you want to say it nicely, he's illegitimate. If you want to say it bluntly, he's a bastard. If my husband ever dared bring a bastard home, I'd strangle him on the spot. No way would I let him walk around, as if nothing happened. Amid the insults, Camila clung to Oscar desperately, trying to justify herself. We might not have a marriage certificate, but we have love. The one who isn't loved is the real mistress. Now that I'm back, she should understand it's right to get divorced and stay away from Luis instead of clinging to him and ruining our happiness. Her words only made the parents even angrier. Those who had stopped now went at her again, pulling her hair and scratching her face. In the chaos, I picked up Sophia in my arms, her trophy still in hand. Mom, what's going on over there? They're just teaching a cornered rata lesson. As I crossed the exit of the exhibition hall, a group of security guards rushed in to control the situation. They began dispersing the crowd and dragged out Camila, who was covered in bruises and in a pitiful state. But none of that had anything to do with me anymore. As I reached the kindergarten entrance, I had just started my car's engine when I saw Luis rushing and carrying a huge gift box. He was probably scared that Camila's son would feel sad for not winning an award and had run out to buy him something to cheer him up. How ridiculous. His own biological daughter had never received a gift from him, not on her birthday, not on holidays, not on any occasion. And now he was desperate to buy a present for a child who wasn't even his. What use was a man like that? Chapter 11. I didn't return to the mansion. Instead, I went straight to my best friend Roma's house. Roma had been my manager in the past. When I married Luis, I left my career and became a full-time housewife. Roma was furious. She scolded me for months, calling me a hopeless fool. Love has rotted your brain. You ruined the best actress of a generation. Back then, I laughed and didn't take her words seriously. Now, I would give anything to go back 6 years and beat up my lovesick self. Lately, Roma had been on a break, so when I arrived with Sophia, I found her at home. I got straight to the point. Take care of her for a while. I have something to do. Roma narrowed her eyes. What are you planning? She knew everything about Luis and me, so there was no point hiding it. I'm going to return every humiliation Luis has made me endure. Roma looked at me in disbelief. What made you change your mind? I turned my gaze toward the living room, where Sophia was already curled up on the sofa watching cartoons. Lowering my voice, I whispered, Sophia cured my lovesick brain. Luis can humiliate me all he wants, but I won't let my daughter suffer. As I left Roma's house, I took out the plane tickets I had bought in advance. I tore them to pieces and threw them in the trash. My original plan was to flee with Sophia, but now I was going to give her and myself the justice we deserved. Chapter 12. The video of the fight at the kindergarten was maliciously edited and uploaded online. In the footage, I was painted as a manipulative shrew who had forced her way into their relationship. Camila even paid bots to control the narrative and twist the facts, blaming me for being the reason she married another man abroad. And Luis? He cooperated with her without hesitation on camera. He confidently claimed his love had never changed and that I was the one who had relentlessly harassed him. He even threatened to make me pay dearly for the assault. Together, they put on a flawless performance, a tragic couple torn apart by fate. In a matter of hours, I became the villain of the entire nation, the despised mistress hated by all. This woman has no shame. Not a shred of dignity. Her face looks familiar. Where have I seen her before? Oh, I remember. 6 years ago, she starred in a drama that became really famous. I thought she'd use that success to keep acting, but she suddenly disappeared. Now I know it was because she became someone's mistress. I heard she got pregnant before marriage and forced the best actor to marry her. My poor, destined lovers couple was ruined by this viper. A woman like that can only raise trash. I bet her daughter will grow up to steal other people's husbands too. I couldn't believe Camila had the audacity to repeat her lies online after being exposed at the kindergarten. Clearly, that beating had left her with some issues. If she had no shame, then I wasn't going to show mercy either. I posted a photo of my marriage certificate with Luis, along with the next sentence. I'm only defending my marriage from the mistress my own husband keeps outside our home. Chapter 13. As soon as I posted my response, many people began to share and support my version of events. When I checked their accounts, I noticed something. They were all mothers from the kindergarten. Wealthy, powerful women with plenty of time and money. And now they themselves had taken control of the narrative, crushing Camila at her own game. The bots and trolls paid by Camila? Terrified. One by one, they began disappearing from the debate, unable to continue pushing the lies. Seeing this unexpected wave of support, I decided to strike hard while the fire burned. I hired a veteran paparazzo of the best in the business. I called several key investors. In a matter of hours, Luis lost funding for multiple projects. During 6 years of marriage, Luis never understood that his success in the industry, the flood of millions that rained down on him, his unlimited access to projects, all of it was thanks to me. Without my connections, without my backing, he would never have had so many opportunities at his disposal. And so, Camila's scandals exploded on the internet. The award-winning actor's mistress, repeat offender in cheating. Luis, the star actor, duped. The true identity of Camila's child's father remains a mystery. Under these headlines were leaked divorce documents showing Camila had been unfaithful during her marriage and had been thrown out penniless. Multiple compromising photos and videos of her with different men also began circulating. Women tore her apart in the comments. Meanwhile, the men couldn't stop downloading the files. Chapter 14. I thought Luis would spend money to erase Camila's scandals from the trending topics. But the whole day passed. Not a word. The two explosive headlines remained at the top of the trending list, unmoved. It wasn't until nighttime that I understood why Luis had stayed silent. A new viral video was sweeping the internet. It had been filmed by a passerby in a hotel lobby. In the recording, Camila with her face full of bruises was curled up in Luis's arms. Both of them were openly flirting in public, not caring that Oscar was sitting next to them. But just when it seemed like a romantic scene straight out of a soap opera, something unexpected happened. Suddenly, a scruffy, bearded man in old, filthy clothes burst onto the scene. Without warning, he grabbed Camila by the hair and dragged her to the ground. His voice, full of rage, echoed throughout the hotel. "You damned bitch. You seduced me back then just because I had money. I divorced my wife because you told me you had my child. And what did you do after? You took my money, took the kid, and ran. I went looking for your ex-husband, and he told me you'd returned to this country a while ago. If it weren't for the internet scandal, who knows how much longer you would have kept hiding. So here you are, raising my child with my money while playing happy family with this idiot. Today I'm going to skin you alive." Camila, still clutching her hair, thrashed desperately, trying to break free. "You're mistaking me for someone else. I don't know you." The man let out a mocking laugh. "Don't know me? Fine. Today I'll make sure you never forget me." Without another word, he raised his fist and aimed it straight at Camila's face. Luis reacted instantly, grabbing the man's wrist before he could land the blow. Where did this lunatic come from? Security. Get him out of here. But before the guards arrived, the man threw a pile of photos in Luis's face. The pictures scattered across the floor. A single glance was enough to see that all the photos were of Camila with that mane in clearly intimate moments. Among them were even photos of a baby's birth in a hospital. Chapter 15. Hey pretty boy, did this slut trick you too? You better go check the trending topics online. Without saying more, the man lunged at Camila again, hitting her mercilessly. "Luis, save me. They're slandering me." But this time, Luis was no longer listening. With trembling hands, he pulled out his phone. And the moment he unlocked the screen and saw the headlines, his whole body stiffened. "Papa Luis, I'm scared," a trembling voice broke the silence. Luis turned his head and saw Oscar hiding behind the sofa, his eyes full of terror. Then his gaze returned to the disheveled man's face. And in that moment, everything clicked. Oscar looked far too much like him. A burning rage surged through Luis from head to toe. He took a violent step forward and yanked the man away. Camila, taking advantage of the brief respite, immediately clung to Luis's leg, sobbing and smearing him with blood, tears, and snot. His expensive tailored suit was ruined. "Luis, thank you for saving me. I knew you still loved me." She didn't finish her sentence because Luis grabbed her neck with force. His fingers squeezed tighter and tighter, making her slowly suffocate. Camila's face turned blue and purple as she struggled to breathe. "Camila," his voice sounded cold and dangerous. "You told me Oscar was 6 years old. That he was our son. And I believed you. But why does his birth certificate say he's only 5? You swore you loved me, but you've slept with who knows how many men. Tell me, what am I to you? A damn garbage bin." Chapter 16. Luis's face remained calm, but the ferocity in his eyes sent chills down Camila's spine. She knew she was finished, but she wasn't ready to go down without a fight. "Luis, listen to me. I didn't want things to turn out this way. I had a huge debt in Las Vegas. I had no choice but to leave the country. I only married my ex-husband, so he could help me pay off the loan sharks. And those other men, I just wanted to squeeze some money out of them. They meant nothing to me. But you do. You're the only one I truly love. You love me too, don't you? I know you only married Luna because she was my replacement. You were married, so was I. You have a daughter, I have a son. We're even. Why don't we leave the past behind and start over?" Before she could finish, Luis shoved her to the ground with disdain. "Don't ever mention Luna again. You're not worthy." His voice was pure coldness and disgust. "Because of you, I ignored my wife and my daughter for so many years. All of this was because of you." Without hesitation, Luis kicked her hard. Camila groaned in pain, her body curling up on the floor. Her breathing became weak. Seeing she no longer had the strength to fight back, Luis finally stopped. The disheveled, bearded man stepped forward, watching the scene with mockery. "Camila, this is exactly what you deserve. As far as I know, your ex-husband has already sent someone to find you. He's planning to hand you over to those loan sharks you betrayed. I think I'll do the same." Hearing those words, Camila's body collapsed completely. She fainted on the spot. Chapter 17. A luxurious black SUV roared through the brightly lit city streets, screeching to a stop in front of an elegant mansion. "Luna! Sophia!" Luis rushed inside, calling out their names, but all he received in return was the echo of his own voice. Desperately, he searched every corner of the house until he opened the wardrobe and found it empty. At that moment, his legs gave out, and he collapsed to the floor. Elsewhere, Roma stared at her phone, watching the security footage of Luis. She turned to me with a curious expression. "Looks like he finally realized what he lost. Are you sure you don't want to forgive him? For Sophia to give her a complete family." Without hesitation, I turned off the phone and tossed it onto the sofa. When a heart grows cold, it never warms again. It's too late. In the following days, Luis never stopped calling. My phone rang endlessly with message after message. I blocked him, but he simply changed numbers and kept insisting. In the end, I got tired and threw away my SIM card. Meanwhile, thanks to the scandal involving Luis and Camila, my name was suddenly back on everyone's lips. A well-known director contacted me, inviting me to a talk show about women, marriage, and self-love. They even wanted me to bring Sophia along. I didn't mind the interview, but exposing Sophia on television that made me hesitate. However, as soon as Sophia heard she'd be on TV, her excitement was so great she couldn't stop talking about it for days. Chapter 18. I don't know how, but Luis found out I was taking Sophia to a live talk show today. Before the recording even began, he burst into the studio. The director tried to stop him and was about to remind him they were already broadcasting live. But before he could say a word, Luis pushed him aside. "Luna! Sophia! I finally found you." He ran onto the stage and hugged me tightly. I struggled with all my strength and kicked him hard in the knee. Luis let out a cry of pain and dropped to his knees on the floor. "Luna, I know I was wrong. Please, don't be mad at me." Instead of getting up, he grabbed my hand, kneeling as if making a desperate proposal. "Luna, I know you love me. Otherwise, you wouldn't have stayed by my side during the worst time of my life. You stayed through my long and painful recovery in the hospital. Then you gave me Sophia, you gave me a warm home. No matter how late I came home, you were always there waiting in the living room cooking me a bowl of noodles." His voice was full of nostalgia and remorse. But I didn't hesitate. I pulled my hand free from his grip and slapped him across the face. A loud smack echoed throughout the studio. "Oh, really? So you weren't blind or deaf? Did you really realize how much I loved you? Then tell me, why did you subject me to 6 years of emotional abuse? If you didn't love me, why did you approach me? Why did you get me pregnant? Was I really worth so little to you?" Chapter 19. A textbook womanizer. Keeps a wife at home while playing outside. He used Luna as his backup plan, and now he wants to pretend to be a loyal man. Disgusting. Cancel Luis. Let this scumbag disappear from the industry. On the studio's big screen, the live comments kept rolling. Only then did Luis realize this was a live broadcast. He tried to retreat, but it was too late. His public image was destroyed. Now his only option was to save his reputation somehow. Seeing that I wouldn't budge, he turned his attention to Sophia. "Sophia, I'm your dad. Daddy misses you so much." He approached, trying to hug her. Sophia's eyes widened with fear, and she ran to hide behind me. A child's reaction never lies. Clearly, he had never been a father to her. Poor Sophia, the fear in her eyes almost brought me to tears. Luis's face tightened with guilt and shame, yet he kept insisting. "Sophia, I know I neglected you because of work. But now I've realized my mistake. Can you give me another chance? Be a good girl and call me Dad, okay?" Hearing this, Sophia blinked her big tear-filled eyes and timidly whispered, "Uncle, are you joking?" Luis stiffened. "I'm not your uncle. I'm your dad." Suddenly, Sophia screamed in terror.
No.
"Your uncle, not Dad. If I call you Dad, they'll lock me in the dark room. Sophia is scared." With that, she hugged me tightly and began to cry silently. Chapter 20. Oh my God. Did I hear that right? A dark room? Poor Sophia, how could she have ended up with such a cruel father? This is inhuman. This bastard was parading Camila's child as if he were Father of the Year, yet with his own daughter, he did this. I have no words. Call the police. Child abuse is a crime. This man deserves to rot in jail. The giant screen in the studio flooded with furious comments, all condemning Luis. I held Sophia tighter in my arms and looked at the man still kneeling on the floor, completely frozen. With a calm yet firm voice, I said, "Sir, this child is already traumatized because of you. If you have even a shred of conscience left, I ask you to never bother us again." At that moment, Luis's manager burst into the studio, his face pale and full of despair. "Luis, bad news. Several productions have demanded a replacement for the lead actor. If you don't step down, they'll pull their investments. And that's not all. All your sponsorship contracts have been canceled. The brands are demanding millions in compensation for the damage to their image. They want you to pay an absurd amount in penalties." Luis's eyes widened. His body stiffened, then he shot to his feet. How did this happen? But the panic only lasted a moment. Luis quickly recomposed himself and straightened up with forced confidence. "There's nothing to worry about. There's still Mr. Nestor. He's always admired me. He invests millions in every one of my movies. If I talk to him, he'll fix everything." The manager shook his head. "It's useless. The one who led the withdrawal of funds was Nestor. Luis, I just checked the accounts. Even if you sell everything you own, it still won't be enough to cover your debts and penalties." Chapter 21. Finally. This scumbag is getting what he deserves. Banned and bankrupt. Let's see how he keeps his mistress and her bastard now. Luis, however, no longer had the energy to care about the comments. Instead, he looked at me with desperation, and suddenly his eyes lit up with an idea. He hurried towards me and said urgently, "Luna, you were the one who introduced me to Mr. Nestor. You must have a close relationship with him. Please, just talk to him. Ask him not to withdraw the investment."
Disgusting.
Besides being a cheater, he's a freeloader. I've never seen anyone so shameless about living off women. Someone get rid of him. I'll gift a virtual rocket. I'm in. I'll send a sports car. I smiled calmly, watching the man humiliated before me. I pulled out my phone and dialed a number. I spoke without haste. "Uncle Nestor, I'm truly sorry for the losses Luis has caused you. To make it up to you, I'll hire the best legal team to sue him and recover as much of the money as possible." The moment I finished speaking, Luis collapsed. His face turned ashen. "Luna, do you really have no affection left for me? Not a single memory of our past? Don't forget we're still married. If I fall, you'll fall with me." Was that a threat? Pathetic. He's sinking and wants to drag me down with him. Trash of a man. I ignore him completely. I signaled to Roma, who handed me my bag. From it, I pulled out a freshly received document from my lawyer. I held it high for everyone to see. On the cover, in bold letters, were the words "Divorce Certificate." Luis froze in place, as if his soul had left his body. Chapter 22. After that explosive live broadcast, job offers poured in. Roma resumed managing my career. I enrolled Sophia in a new kindergarten. When I saw her adapting well to her new environment, I felt at peace and returned to filming. During a break, Roma approached with a mysterious smile and handed me her phone. Biggest bombshell of the year. You've got to see this. I took the phone and looked at the screen. It was a recent photo of Luis. His hair was disheveled, his eyes sunken, his cheekbones protruding. He looked like a living corpse. I raised an eyebrow. What happened to him? Roma burst out laughing. Your ex got swindled and ended up in northern Myanmar. When they rescued him, he was missing a kidney and his mind was shattered. Now he's locked up in a psychiatric hospital, and I doubt he'll ever get out. I blinked, surprised. Who got him into that? Roma smiled wickedly. Camila. I watched Sophia playing with a puppy, feeling warmth bloom in my chest. The past had been painful, but now I was happy. And that was enough.